Howdy everyone. So today we are going to cover a very, very important topic in the horse world. Probably one of the most prevalent dangers in owning a horse, and it is called colic. What is colic? So I'm sure you guys have heard of babies and such who colic. Well, horses can colic as well, and colic is defined as essentially any type of abdominal pain. There's not one particular strain of colic. Colic can be caused by many different things. It can be caused by basically an abundance of stress, overeating, too much sugar, lack of water, anything really that could cause abdominal upset within your horse. Maybe they've eaten something, they've eaten moldy hay, or they've gorged on like these things right here, which we are trying to get off the rest of the farm. We've already treated our fields. You see there's no yellow in any of our pastures, but in these little scrub areas where the horses are only, they walk by, they don't really eat in here. They eat in our pastures, but these little scrub areas, these buttercups pop up all over the place. Buttercups can cause colic. They are toxic. So anything that can cause abdominal upset within your horse is basically defined as colic. Okay. So the problem with colic is it can be anywhere from mild to intensely dangerous for your horse. They can have a mild, like gas colic, where they just eat something wrong, or perhaps they've like overeaten grain, or they've gotten something that doesn't really agree with them, and they can be kind of gassy, and that can be a mild form of colic. But then you can have a major, very dangerous form of colic in which it causes the intestines to twist, and if that happens, then really the only way to fix that is a major surgery, and it's emergency surgery, and it costs thousands and thousands of dollars. So of course none of us want that, and lots of times that they have surgery, there's not even any guarantee that they will survive even with the surgery. So what are we looking for with colic? Okay, there are signs, and if you know how to look for them, you can potentially catch it early enough and, hopefully prevent it. So if you notice that your horse is not eating, like for instance, if you come out here and you offer them their regular feed and they're not eating and they're just off their feed and they walk away from it and they don't want to do anything with it, well, that could be a sign. If they are kicking at their sides, okay, and that means if they take their back foot and they're kicking all the way up to here and they're turning their head around and they're biting at their sides a lot, in other words, there's something in their gut here. It's going to happen right in this area here on a horse. Let me see if I can zoom out a little. This is Cutter. He's going to be our model here. So he would be kicking up at his side here, or he would be turning his head all the way back and biting at his sides because he's trying to get rid of that discomfort. So if you notice a horse doing that, and I'm not talking about kicking at a fly, because they'll kick at a fly here and there, but I mean, if this is repeated where they are really like kicking at their side and they're curled up and they're bent in and they're biting at their sides, that is definitely a sign you want to be aware of. Another thing is if you have little to no gut sounds. Okay, so if you put your ear up against a horse, 9 times out of 10, and I'm doing it right now, you can hear this gurgling in their bellies. Okay, it's a kind of, you'll hear it. They're called gut sounds. So gut sounds are good, and that's what you want in a horse. If you have little to no gut sounds, that means that the gut is not doing what it is supposed to do properly, and you could have an impaction, a blockage, something like that. So you really want to be aware of that. Another thing to look out for is going to be if they're doing these other signs and symptoms, and then they're laying down and they're trying to roll a lot. You really, really, really do not want a colicky horse to roll, because that's how they get that torsion upset inside their bellies, and they actually twist their gut. Okay, so torsion displacement is critically dangerous inside of a horse. You do not want that under any circumstances. So if I even suspect that I have a horse that might be colicky, I immediately put a halter on them. I put a lead rope on them. I do not let them lay down, and I certainly do not let them roll over, because that's where the major problems come in. When they get that torsion displacement, it can truly be fatal to them. So you really want to watch out for that as well. And what you can do, also excessive sweating. If you notice that a horse is like really sweaty or drooly, like if they've got drool coming out of their mouth and they're just really, they seem like they're sort of like regurgitating, even though a horse cannot physically vomit. They will kind of put their head down sometimes, and they'll have like, drool and stuff come out of their mouth, but, and their head will usually be down. Their ears will kind of be back a little bit. They will definitely be exhibiting signs of, I don't feel good. Like Cutter right now has his head down and his ears are kind of off to the side, but it's not a, I don't feel good. This is just a, hey, I'm sleepy and it's nap time, because this is their nap time for all the horses. So there's a definite difference to it. Instead of like a relaxed eye when their head is down like this, it would be more of a pained eye. You would see worry and stress in their eye. If you know how to read a horse, these flies are bothering him, so we're going to fly spray him here in a minute. But so that's another sign you can look out for. And if you do have a horse that is exhibiting any of these signs, like I said, put a halter on them, get them walking. Okay, you want to halter them, you want to walk them, you want to try to get that gut to start moving and start functioning properly. You also want them to poop. Okay, if you have a horse that you suspect is colicking, then you want to check and see if they have pooped, and not only if they have pooped, you want to check the quality of their poop. Okay, is it a large, normal bowel movement for your horse, or is it these like little teeny tiny pebbles that aren't really accomplishing anything? So a great goal would be to attempt to get your horse to have a bowel movement. A lot of people I know, if they think their horse is colicky, they will actually put them on a horse trailer and they will try to get them to go to the bathroom, because that happens lots of times because of their nerves. You put them on a horse trailer, they go to the bathroom immediately. So but definitely walk. If you think they're colicking, do not feed them anything. Okay, do not give them any grain, do not give them any hay, do not give them any grass. Okay, because what's going to happen is you're just going to emphasize or put more food on top of that impaction if they are impacted. So you don't want to do that, and you're going to, by introducing more food, you're trying to get the gut then has to think, oh, I have to work hard again, and if it's already not working, you don't want to create more of a problem than you already have. Okay, so don't let your horse roll, get them walking immediately. If you can get them to poop by putting them on a horse trailer, great. But keep them moving and call your vet. Okay, take their temperature, make sure you get a baseline temperature, make sure they're not running a fever. That's one of the things that you want to watch out for. Anywhere from 99 degrees to 101 degrees is normal for a horse. Okay, so if they're exhibiting a fever, then mark that down, write it down, call your vet. And if you have anything called Banamine on hand, that's Banamine, your vets, I always keep Banamine on hand in my horse trunk because of just in case. And if I suspect that my horse is in distress and might be colicking, then I take their temperature first. If they're running a normal temperature, then I will give them 10, I think it's milliliters or milligrams. I don't know. It's the little 10 on the thing of Banamine, and I squirt it down their throat. I never try to go into their vein with Banamine, and I would not suggest that anybody do that unless you're very, very qualified, like you have medical training. But you can get it in paste format, or you can get it just in the clear liquid format, and you can give it to them orally, and it does help with their pain. But the one thing is, Banamine can actually mask signs of colic as well. So a lot of people will give Banamine and then their horse will suddenly improve, and then they're like, oh, they're fine, and then they kick them back out into the grass, and then they start eating grass again, or hay, or grain, or whatever, but the original problem hasn't really cleared itself. So these are things you want to, you know, be aware of. I would give them some Banamine. I would put them in a stall, or isolate them in an area, get them away from the other horses, and keep walking them, and then definitely call your vet. Now, what a vet will do is they will come out, they will assess your horse, and then usually they will tube them. That means that they take this clear, long plastic tube, and it's a very flexible tube. They will insert it actually into the horse's nose. They will go up through, and then they will pump. They have usually a pump, and they will pump water and well, actually, there's electrolytes. It's usually like an electrolyte and a somewhat of a laxative type of thing in there, and then water, and then they will pump it into your horses. It'll go all the way up. It'll enter their gut, their intestines, and the attempt is to try to get that flushed out. Oftentimes, they will also come to the back of the horse as well. They will put a big long glove on, and they will get some, you know, proper lubrication, and they will see what they can get out from this end if there is an impaction. So I know it sounds disgusting, and I'm not trying to be crude, but this is just what happens, okay, when horses are colicky. So if you have a horse that you suspect is colicky, you're going to see all of these things with your vet anyway. So, but for those of you who do not know, that is the procedure. That is what happens. It is tremendously frightening as a horse owner to have a horse that colics, because you know that you've got a very high chance that, especially if you've got that, you know, the torsion issue, the torsion displacement, then, you know, you're looking at possibly a colic surgery, and you're looking at thousands of dollars for that. So you want to prevent these things, folks. Always make sure that you don't do sudden diet changes for your horses. Make sure they always have access to clean water. That is an absolute necessity. It should go without saying, but yeah, I can tell you some stories on that. Don't do, like I said, don't one day be feeding them one grain and then the next day feed them something completely different. Mix it in, ease into it. Don't be feeding them one type of hay and then go completely different. Like if you're feeding orchard grass hay, don't suddenly turn to, you know, ryegrass or something like that. Like ease them into it. Don't shock their systems. Keep them exercised. Make sure that they have plenty of room to roam around. Make sure that they've got, you know, they have forage to graze on regularly. Don't keep them in a stall for, you know, 16 hours a day with no food, no water, and no hay. You are going to colic your horse, okay? They've got to forage. They have to keep their guts moving at all times. So it is very important that you always provide forage and sustenance of a healthy variety for your horses, and of course clean water at all times. So another thing you want to do is have regular dental care and regular deworming for your horses, because, you know, if you get worms in there and they're doing their thing, you know, that lowers the immunity of your horse, and it can cause gastric upset as well. So also their teeth, if their teeth are overgrown and they cannot chew properly, and they're swallowing big gobs of hay or big gobs of grass or grain, God forbid, that they haven't, you know, been able to chew up correctly, it can go down there and it can get hung up. It does not digest properly. All these things can cause colic. So you just really want to be very aware when you're working with your horses. Monitor what they're eating, what they're drinking, how much they're pooping. And I know it sounds crazy, but, like, you know, these are things that we have to watch out for as horse owners, because it's very, very important. You always want to get a baseline for your horses. Get a baseline temperature for them. You know, get a baseline weight, get a baseline heart rate, you know, have your vet look at their teeth to know what they look like. So just all of these things. I mean, horses are wonderful to have, but you also there's a tremendous amount of responsibility that goes along with these guys. And, you know, they can live well into their 30s. So, you know, you're talking about a lifelong commitment with them. And, you know, it's just part of it. You've got to give them the care that they need. So I hope that helps. I hope that no one ever has to experience colic. Knock on wood here. My 3 horses, I've never had that problem, but I do know several who have. And, you know, we do our best to take care of that and to avoid that that horrible sickness. So I'll tell you what, folks, if you think this video helped you or could help any other horse owners, please share it, because it is critical to the lives of horses out there. I cannot tell you how many per year are lost to colic, but I would venture it's one of the #1 killers in the equestrian community. So please share, please like, please bookmark, and if any of you have any more tips and tricks or experiences with colic, I really would love to hear about them, because it can help the other people who definitely do read the comments. All right, take care.